Hello, everybody. It's Bekki Hurley, Diamond Director from Vancouver, British Columbia, and I'm on here tonight with a few of my very special friends. I think we're all from BC and Alberta, except for our very, very special guest, Yolanda Halston. She is the makeup artist to the stars, and she's the creator of our amazing product, Envy. And she's going to tell us a little bit about that tonight. We're going to do some applications, give you some tips and tricks. And but the first thing that I want to do is ask my good friend Yolanda what she was doing last Sunday.
Oh, well, I was with our very special Dr. Nathan Newman on the red carpet with a lot of celebrity guests that were coming through. We did a gifting suite to where we could give our celebrity friends some product with Luminous and also Envy so that they would be prepared with their skin and be red carpet ready. And we had a great time. We took a lot of pictures. I'm sure you've probably seen some things coming across social media, but it was such a special time to just be able to share our products with some, people that are exposed to so many, or actually all products, and to educate them and give them products that actually are not just going to make them look good for the night, but they're going to actually make their skin look good for a really long time. So it was a really special night, and I was thankful for it.
Yeah. Now, I am one that's, and if this recording's going out, feel free to put my before and after pictures of what my skin looked like, girls, because I got to tell you, it doesn't even matter if I'm going anywhere now. My routine is so down pat now with the Envy products that I use this, honest to God, I use it every day, whether I'm just staying at home or I'm going out someplace. And because I just jump in the shower. I'm actually in my bathroom right now. I won't model the shower part. I jump in the shower, and once I've done my my Luminous products, my serum and my daytime moisturizer, the next step, I just comb my hair back, completely naked, and I use the primer right away, pat that quickly, and then I use my my color choice depending on what time of the year it is. Absolutely every day without fail, I use these two products, and I gotta tell you, my skin is really, really responding. I didn't think my skin could get any better, but it just keeps getting better and better and better. I have absolutely nothing on right now. If I get one little tiny whitehead now, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm breaking out. That's how good my skin is now. It's just amazing. And I'll tell you, since using the Luminous, but especially since using this, when I go in for a facial about every 3 months now. When I go in now, and it's the first time in my life that I've ever had now that I'm going to be 53 in a couple of months, every time I go in, they tell me my skin is really nicely hydrated and my elastin is good as they're doing the check. And I never had that before. I was using products that were absolutely stripping my skin. And if I stopped using them for a day, I would completely break out. So I've just been so thankful for all of these products. And again, really, really thankful to you for creating them. So give us the story behind the creation of this and what makes this so special.
Well, there's a lot of history behind it. Being a makeup artist, I came up in a time where we had a different foundation and concealer and powder for every different type of lighting, every different type of skin type, every different type of environment. So whether it be humid or hot, dry, we had a different formula for every different thing. And I actually, I had a suitcase, I'm not kidding you, an entire suitcase full of concealers, foundations, and powders so that I could actually meet all the needs of all the people that I was working on. So I actually was in a situation where I had a celebrity client who was being laser resurfaced. She was considering it, and she was concerned about the healing process and what she could use to cover up the redness after so that she could get back to work. And so she invited me in to meet with her doctor to see, because I had no exposure to the laser resurfacing at the time. I mean, we're talking way back in the early stages of it. And so I went in and I saw 3 of his patients, and I used everything that I had. I used the creams, I used the powders, I used the liquids, and there was really nothing that gave a natural coverage to this skin that was newly healing. So I'm sure all of us have had an experience where you've burned yourself with a curling iron, or you've had your eyebrows waxed too closely, where you get that, when you burn yourself, you get like a little bit of a blister. And when all that dead skin falls away, you have this like really pink, slick baby skin that's healing. And that's really what the process of the laser is. It removes those top layers of skin. And so when you try to put makeup on the top of that, there's nothing for the makeup to stick to. So if you touched it with your finger, you would lift it. If you used a sponge or a brush to apply a product over the top of it, it would leave a line or a streak. So there was really no way to get a really natural looking coverage. So that's really how I had the idea in the first place. It was a problem solving thing where I thought, how can I get the thinnest layer of makeup on the skin that looks natural and gives coverage, but it stays? It doesn't come off with wear. It doesn't come off with heat or humidity or even a tear that streaks, because if a tear comes down your face, I thought about it for about 2 months, and then finally one day, this is a really a funny story, but I was in the bathtub, which is like my think tank. And I'm thinking, how do I get the thinnest layer of makeup on the skin without touching it? And my little bubble went up, and it was like, the only way is to spray it on. And at that time, we had been airbrushing. It was the early stages of airbrushing. It was the hottest new trend in cosmetics.
You have the big one. Like,
it really was. So you had the Brad and Jennifer, airbrushed for their wedding. Jennifer Lopez was airbrushed by Kevin Aquan. It was all over the magazines. It was very famous. And I thought to myself, well, my goodness, if you could take that makeup and put it in a can and spray it on the skin, it would be easy for everyone. But, why hasn't anyone thought of it yet? And if it's that easy, and that's kind of one of those, products that you go, it was like a ta-da moment. Anyway, I could go on and on and on about that, but it really, it was just a very simple solution to a problem that needed to be resolved. And when you take a product and you put it into a can that's pressurized and it's sealed, you get so many more benefits. It's not just the airbrush effect that you get the non-contamination, because nothing can get in the can. And so many people break out from, the contaminated product that they're putting on their skin. So like, for instance, this is also at the time where those mineral powders became very popular. Obviously, it was like a brown grape, breaking phenomena that happened with the mineral powders, but those powders are so contaminated. I mean, even when they're showing you how to use the products on camera, they tell you to take your brush and swirl it around in the cap. So everything that was on your face the last time that you applied the product is now in your product. And so you get into this vicious cycle where you're covering up a breakout, but now you've just created a new breakout because you just recontaminated your face again. So with a product being put into a pressurized container and it's sealed, nothing can get in the can. So then, likewise, nothing can escape either. And all of the stuff that's good for you, the water, which is the hydration, the vitamins and the botanicals, the vitamin A, the vitamin D, the vitamin E, those are all, volatile organic compounds that evaporate. Then you've got your APT 200. You've got everything that's good for your skin. As soon as you take the lid off of the can, all of those things are evaporating. So with our product, because it's sealed, nothing ever evaporates. Time you spray your face, you get 100% product, you get 100% formula. It's first time fresh. So when we say that, that's why you can't get that with anything else, because every time I spray my face, if it takes me, a month to use my product, my can all the way through, or if it takes me 6 months because it's a shade that I don't use all the time. Maybe it's because I'm using a darker shade to give myself some contour. It's always 100% formula. It's healthy. It's good for the skin. And so that's just, you know, my technology. But then we throw in the Jeunesse exclusive APT 200.
Mm-hmm.
So the APT 200, I've heard a lot of explanations of what that is. And I think that it's sort of a miracle. So it's hard to really put it into words what happens. But you have Dr. Nathan Newman, who spent years, decades of studying stem cell technology. And then he goes into the lab and he takes all of his knowledge and he creates a peptide that actually regenerates skin cells. So basically, when we're babies, when we're born and we have skin and we're growing, we're regenerating skin cells rapidly, and because we're growing. And so when we hit about our 20s and we stop growing, our skin cell regeneration slows down, and our collagen reproduction slows down. So what this APT 200 does is that it keeps that motor humming. It actually keeps the skin cells rejuvenating so that our production doesn't slow down. It keeps going and it keeps reproducing so that we stay younger. We stay younger longer. And that's our whole, platform, is that, we want to freeze time. We want to keep our skin looking as young as long as possible. So for me to take my product, which actually makes you look perfect on the outside,
Mm-hmm.
but then also add in an ingredient, a peptide that keeps that process going from the inside. So we've got beauty from the inside out, and then we have beauty from the outside in, and then they meet together in harmony and they work together. There's no other product on the market like this. And I could keep going on and on. Bekki, stop me.
No, we love it.
But I love it. I'm so blessed to be a part of Jeunesse and be a part of this company and to be a part of, this youth enhancement system. I don't think of this as a makeup product. I think of it as a treatment
Mm-hmm.
and a bridge from our skincare into perfect skin, because it doesn't matter. Like, if my skin looks perfect, it doesn't matter if I do smoky eyes and lip gloss or mascara and red lips. It's like an accessory. Everything else is just an accessory
Mm-hmm.
to my skin looking great. I don't want people to look at me and say, oh my goodness, your makeup looks amazing. I want them to look at me and say, your skin looks amazing. Yeah. And I'm 48 years old and I'm standing with, 30-year-olds, and I feel great and I feel confident. So I think that is a testimony to what we're doing here, and I'm so happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if you've ever seen the pictures of myself and Kathleen and Deb Gordon, Kathleen Erdu and Deb Gordon. We had the 10-year apart ones that we did last year, and we look better now than we did 10 years ago.
Wow. Yeah. It doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, yeah.
It really doesn't.
I mean, Jeunesse is not about making you not ever get older, but it's, why can't we keep our skin and our bodies as healthy as we possibly can as we're aging? That's what I don't care if I'm 100, if I feel good and I look as good as I possibly can at that time. It's not about being perfect. It's about being the best you that you can possibly be. So thank you. I mean, how thankful I was when this product came, because we'd waited for a long time for it. So, and we have not even hit the ground with it yet. We just really haven't, especially here in North America. So again, thank you so much for coming on. And somebody who has just been chomping at the bit for tonight, I'm going to have my good friend Bev come on first of all. And Bev, I'm going to spotlight you, and which means that you will be at the front of the recording, and just start out by asking the questions that you have, and then Yolanda will talk you through your application. Let's see how you normally put this makeup on.
Okay.
Whew. You could have let someone else go first, Bekki, right?
Well, I know you've been waiting.
I'm so excited about this. And one of the problems that I have is sometimes I feel like this area of my skin doesn't get covered very good type of stuff, okay? But I love the primer, and I'm a new recipient of eyebrows. I've actually got my eyebrows done, so I love them.
How's the upkeep? What do you do with your brows now that you've had that done? Do you just
Nothing.
Anything?
Nothing. That's
No
it.
plucking?
No. Well, I probably have to, but I'm old. I'm 63 years old, Bekki. So this is 63 and naked skin on Jeunesse. So how cool is that? So anyway, I basically take the primer and I just do that, just real quick. Okay. Perfect. Okay, good.
Two enthusiastic thumbs up from Yolanda.
Well, yes, and let me just interject that in that short amount of time that you just misted your face, you primed your entire face, plus your eyebrows, plus your lids, plus your lashes, plus your lips. Like, honestly, you gave an entire face a prime in 2 seconds. And only one product, not 5 products. So that's really important. And a lot of people, Bev, ask me, is the primer necessary? Do I have to use the primer? Can I just use the foundation? Well, sure. Sure you can.
Yeah.
But what you get when you use the primer is you get all of those products all at one time in a couple of seconds. And I find that I use less foundation when I use my primer first. So I actually extend the life of the use of my foundation because I'm using half the amount of product that I would with the foundation. Plus, you know, we're women, we have routines, we have certain things that we do. Men get this product. If a man's gonna paint a wall, they're gonna prime it first. If they're gonna paint a car, they're gonna prime it first. They get it. Like, primer has a function, and it's to make the surface of the surface, or this, for us, it's the skin, to make the surface of the skin even, smooth, and to accept the color that's going to go on so that you actually use less product. It goes on more evenly. So that was great. What you just did, it's perfect. And I love the distance that you used, Bev, too, because when you are showing someone this product and how to use it, I always say one thing, because chances are when you spray their face, their eyes are closed, so they never actually see the application. So what happens is when you spray your face with the product, you have to think about it like you're misting your face with water. Because if I'm just gonna spray my face with water, I'm not gonna spray it here because I'm gonna get wet, like right there. I'm not gonna do this because the majority of the product is going to go behind me. So I've just wasted 2/3 of my product. I'm just going to do one little zigzag. Just like that. And it's like literally just tracing my nose in a very small way. And then also where I would spray with water is out here. It's not way back here. It's not way in here. It's just where it feels comfortable, like at a 90-degree angle. And if you just follow that, you can never make a mistake with the product because you're always going to get like a perfect even amount. So now if you are dehydrated, because we all travel a lot, so we're on airplanes. If you're in a very high altitude or in a desert type location where the atmosphere is very dry, you could layer the primer too. You could layer it by misting multiple layers, or you could spray it in the palm of your hand like that and apply it with your finger in the areas that have more open pores. And that is actually going to give you more hydration, plus more APT 200, plus more, you know, of all the good stuff, the water and the minerals. So back to you, Bev. I'm sorry I didn't mean to jump in, but I just wanted to,
awesome,
as we go through the steps, it's helpful to kind of talk through it.
Yeah. So by putting that extra on there, is that going to help it settle better here? Because sometimes I find it doesn't stick as well in that area for me. Okay.
Okay. Excellent question. I think that something that we kind of breezed over was the actual skincare part of it. I think probably one of the most, the biggest mistakes that people make are that they put their, they wash their face and then they put their serum on, put their moisturizer on, and then they go straight into doing the makeup. So what happens if you put your moisturizer on and then you go straight into applying your makeup, your moisturizer hasn't fully soaked in yet.
Okay.
And so sometimes the makeup can actually float. So you've got this layer of hydration on your skin, and if it hasn't fully absorbed into the skin, so I always say, put on your serum, allow that to go into the skin and let it dry. Like, let it literally absorb into the skin. It takes a few seconds. It's not a long time, maybe a minute for it to actually dry. And then put your moisturizer on. Put your moisturizer on and then brush your teeth.
Okay.
For about 2 minutes, whatever the dentist, actually, I think it's about 2 minutes, the dentist says, like, brush your teeth for that amount of time. Let that moisturizer soak in for that amount of time, because it's going to be fully penetrated in the skin. And our moisturizers, they don't leave an oily residue on the skin, not even the night cream. So when I actually put my daytime moisturizer on, and I use the night cream as an eye cream sometimes when I wake up and I feel really dehydrated, I use it on my lids and around my eyes. Let it soak in for a few minutes, then go in with your primer, and you probably you'll see less of that, of what you're talking about how you feel like it's not really going in. It's because it's not bonding to the skin the way it should, because there's still that moisturizing layer there.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm using the camera as the mirror, so if you want to put me back in the middle, Bekki, again. She's taking pictures.
There you go.
There we go. Okay, good. And I've been using a beauty blender to just pat that in.
Okay, so while you're working, I'm going to talk.
Okay.
My personal process and how I apply the product is I always conceal first.
Oh, okay.
And the reason I do that is that way I don't overspray my whole face to cover up one little thing, because I've got a few things. So I already primed myself. I'm going to go in my color. I'm going to use the N4 because, obviously that's my shade. It's like a lot of our shades here. So I always shake the can first. Now, when you shake the can, what happens is, so inside this bottle, if you could see through the bottle, it kind of looks like Italian dressing. That's a terrible explanation, but you'll understand. You've got your water that's the heaviest, and it sinks down to the bottom. Then you've got your pigments and your vitamins and botanicals that float. So when you shake it, that's actually the magic that happens, because every molecule of water gets wrapped in the pigments and the vitamins and botanicals and the emollients. And so when you spray your face, every bubble of water, that the molecules are like, micronized size, but they hit your face and they burst. So then they lay down the pigment and the vitamins and botanicals, and then the water evaporates. So you see a little bit of dissipation when you're spraying your face. You see some evaporation. So the water evaporates and it leaves behind a very thin film, and it dries pretty quickly. So basically, you always want to shake the can, because you want to make sure that every time you spray your face, you get that even amount of water, emollients, vitamins, and botanicals. So shake the can first. So now I'm going to spray a little bit in the palm of my hand. Okay. And that's what it should look like a little creamy round circle. And before I do anything else, I go under my eyes, just like that. I go around the corner of my nose. I'm making this part of my face bright with the shade that matches my skin tone. Now, you can do this with a lighter shade too to get that really highlighted, contoured look, but I actually like I like to look really natural. Like I don't want to look like I'm wearing a lot of makeup. So I do this first. And so then, I'm coming really close. Don't judge me. I have, I got to put my mirror up here so I can see what I'm doing. I have a spot right there. And this actually, it used to be a freckle, but it's migrating. And it's getting bigger. And so, you know, I have a few of these things on my face where, you know, it's sunspots. I mean, it's aging that happens, and it's not, you know, it's not as cute as it used to be when I was a teenager. So I'm going to do that first. I'm going to go under my eyes or around the corners of my nose, and then I'm going to cover up a few of my little spots. And I'm going to do that first, and that way I don't overspray my cheeks and my whole face just to cover up those few little things. Because I find that people think, oh my goodness, I want to cover that. So then they're like, you know, they get too wet. And then they have too much makeup on, and then they have to blend and blend and blend. And then they're like, oh, it's coming off, and I don't understand. This is why if you think about applying this product like painting your fingernails, if I put a thin layer on, and then I put another thin layer on, and then I put another thin layer on, I can layer as many layers of nail polish as I want. And I'm going to get more coverage, more opaqueness of that polish color. Same thing with my skin. If I put a thin layer on, I'm going to get, you know, like a tinted moisturizer. If I put another layer over the top of it, I'm going to get the coverage of a liquid foundation. If I put another layer on, I'm going to get the coverage of a full coverage or a powder foundation. And I could layer it to where I could actually cover a tattoo. And stay on and look beautiful. But if I try to do one thick layer all over, it's going to take too long to dry, and I'm going to mess it up. I'm going to touch it, it's going to lift. It's going to leave a streak. It's going to leave a mark. And so it's all about the process of airbrushing and layering the product. So then I'm going to actually just applied my concealer. When I'm doing a party situation, I actually only apply to one side of the face at a time. Because if somebody has perfect skin and you put it on one side and then you show them the other side, they're gonna see a difference. It's gonna look airbrushed, it's gonna look flawless. If someone has freckles or acne scars or things that they want to cover, those things are actually, you're going to see a dramatic change from one side to the other. Also in a party situation, a lot of times women come to the party and they have makeup on already. Their eye makeup is done. They have lash extensions. You have to excuse me for 1 second because my 6-year-old is, no. Sorry. You gotta be quiet. Come here for a second. Oh. Okay, just leave it. Just leave it. It's fine. It's okay. I'm so sorry. Okay, so here's my little trick, Bekki, that I was telling you about. That so people come to these parties and they have their makeup done already. We're not going to replace this. No. We're not going to replace the color, the eyeshadow, the mascara. So if I'm only going to apply it to one side, you know, if I'm at home, I'm going to do a fast spray with the shade that matches my skin tone. But for me personally, I always apply a darker shade around the outside. So I'll throw my hair up in a towel. Obviously, Janess has these lovely little headbands that we can also use. But, you know, in a situation where you're going to apply something to somebody really fast and maybe you don't want to make a big deal out of, you know, draping and pulling hair back and all of that. One of the things that I always do is I lay a tissue over someone's shoulder, just like this. You can see that. Mm-hmm. And then for me, in a working environment, I cover their earring with my thumb and I cover their eyes with my fingers like that. And then I shake the can and I do one quick little mist. Just like that. And then I have them look in the mirror because I haven't even touched it yet. That's what it should look like. It shouldn't look wet. It shouldn't look, overdone. I should be able to see that it's very smooth. And then I'm going to take my puff, which is amazing. Like, I actually designed the puffs specifically for this type of product because it absorbs the moisture, and the little fingers in the cotton actually kind of create more of a texture to the skin tone. So I'm going to just press that, buff it, blend it down, and then show the difference. I mean, like, the difference between that and then that, like, mottled skin, redness. I have sun damage. Like, I've got broken capillaries, I've got freckles, I've got all of that. But, like, literally that is flawless. And that was, like, literally just one quick mist. Now I could layer it and get more of a full coverage. So I'm going to do that. But, so here's the fun part. I actually covered with my fingers. I did that. But at home, somebody could actually take a teaspoon.
What? Get out of here.
Yeah, right? So this is the answer to your question about the Instantly Ageless, because you're literally blocking that whole space for the Instantly Ageless, and you just do little mist.
Wow.
Dinesh should include the spoons in the box.
I know, right? We could have a total silver spoon collection. Right?
And you know what? If you got it cold, it would also help with the bags.
I know. Like, start there and then, like, flip it over. But, and it's so funny because, look, I literally, if you look at the spoon, there's hardly anything on it. Like, I think that using the tissue in a demonstration process and using the spoon, you actually pull this off and then show there is no overspray. Like, if I was standing over a sink with my mineral makeup and then I turn the water on, it's like mud in my sink.
It really is, yeah.
And people are worried, oh, it's going to get all over the place. The powder is way messier than this ever could be. I mean, obviously, the product goes where you spray it, and you want to train people to actually use it properly. But at the end of the day, seeing this side to this side, you see a dramatic difference. Now I very quickly want to apply it to the other side. And so I'm going to do that really quick. Make sure I've got the right spray, and then shake the can always, and then do a little mist. And I do little bursts. A lot of people actually do like a, and so for me, I like to actually, when you do the burst, then you're not hesitant. Like, I hear people say, oh, I get like these little dots. It's because they're pushing the button down and being hesitant about it.
Got it.
It's okay. If you touch it, it just melts into the skin. It's fine. But, when I do like the little, I feel like I'm getting the right amount of product and then not overdoing it.
Okay.
So then I press it and buff it in. And so I haven't done my forehead, obviously, in a party situation. You can if you want to. That was a 4 that I was using. When I'm tan, the 6 actually matches my skin, and I still use my 4 as my concealer. So when you're talking about colors, the 4 has enough white in it to give you the brightness that you still need. Even if you go on vacation and you get tan, you still need to have that brightness underneath your eyes in this area here. And so I always use my 4, no matter what season it is. And then I use my 6 to actually warm my skin up. Like right now I'm very pale. Like I don't have a single tan line, which I plan to change really quickly because it's getting warm here. And then, so I use my 6 as the color that matches my skin tone. Right now I'm using it to warm my skin up. But in the summertime, I'm using the 6. My 4 is my concealer. My 6 to match my foundation. So I would have used the 6 on my cheeks, and then I'm going to use the 8 to give me that look, sort of bronzed look. So, if you're going to spray it on somebody, you could block their hair with your hand and literally shake the can. This is the 8. And you can see it's like giving me that warmth that I need back into my skin tone. And you can use it head to toe. So I can put this on my chest. My chest already, if I'm self-tanning already, I'm bringing that color from here up to my face. Or I could actually apply it with a brush and then bring it in right in to the areas where I want a little bit more contour. So, we see all these YouTube videos all the time of, people that are highlighting and contouring, and they're spending, upwards 20 minutes like blending and pressing it all out and doing all of that. We literally can apply our concealer, then spray down the center of the face, go across the forehead, take a little bit in the palm of our hands. Literally in 2 minutes, you can get the same look and get all that highlighted, contoured perfection, and it's going to stay. You don't have to powder the product if you don't want to. A lot of people, you see all of that pressing and blending, and then they have to go over the top of it with powder. We don't have to use powder because once it dries down, and it's not going to gather, in the fine lines, which is very aging. Plus adding powder on top of it is very aging. So do you have any questions? Because I just started, I started going and I moved around a lot.
Love it. Bev, does that answer your question for?
Yeah, and I do forget to do that part of it type of stuff because I always just go, but I forget to do the hiding of the blemishes first. So thank you, Yolanda. That was awesome.
Yeah. Bev, can I actually just throw one other thing in? Sure. Is that the beauty blenders are really popular right now, but they actually sort of defeat the purpose of the non-contamination part of it, because no matter what you do to clean that beauty blender, no matter how much product, I use dish soap to kind of cut the oil out of it and kind of get down in there. But no matter what I do, if I cut that open, I still see makeup down in there. And a lot of our people that, worry about, their skin breaking out, it's not the product that's going to cause them to break out. It's the actual contamination from, the brush. Like I have to actually shampoo this and clean it and get that product out of there. I mean, you could see that it's down in there, and in a beauty blender, it's really difficult. I prefer to just buy the non-latex sponges. Okay. And I use a damp non-latex sponge every day and throw it away. It's disposable. Yeah. And then
using it damp?
Using it damp, yeah, that's going to melt the product into your skin even a little bit more.
Oh, cool. Okay.
If you're going for more coverage, you don't have to dampen it. A lot of people use the wet beauty blenders because they're using this heavy oil-based product. Ours isn't heavy, so you don't have to. But if you're, especially in the summertime when you're really wanting to blend it out and make it super natural, using it damp is really nice. And then these are machine washable. Throw them in with your towels. I just use Tide and throw them in with my towels, and they come out beautiful, sparkling clean, and we can keep using them over and over again. So having a few of those on hand is actually a really good idea.
Yolanda, we don't have to worry about, I actually have one of your originals.
Oh, look at that. A blast from the past.
Yeah. We don't have to worry about the color transferring onto towels if we're throwing it in. It's fine.
No, in fact, I was just talking to somebody the other day, like, when you're doing these parties and you're showing people the product, things happen. My very first demonstration that I did standing on the store floor in New York, and I sprayed the product on the inside of my hand. I was showing the concealer, and then, before I sprayed, I went to touch the person on the shoulder, and she was wearing a brand new Chanel white puffy jacket. And I literally just went right on her shoulder, and I was like, ah. But you know what? That pink soap in the bathroom, it took it right out. I was like, just went with it and used it as a demo. But at the end of the day, things happen. I mean, we're going to get it, smudged here and there. It's going to go on our towels. No, you know what? There's no oil in the product. So literally, if you just throw it in with your towels, it's going to come right out sparkling clean. If it, if the only time that it won't is if you do like that, and then you dip the product, you dip the puff into the product, you might get a little bit more of like a, see that like it's in there, and then I just put a little bit of the extra detergent on it and kind of work it in a little bit the same way I would my face. I'm going to break that up and get it, loosened up before I put it in the laundry. But yeah, it comes right out.
I have a question, Yolanda.
Sure.
I don't like using like the brushes or anything like that. I just blend it with my fingers. Is that all right? Like, is that?
That's what I do. That's what I do. Absolutely. I use my fingers as my, for my concealer. I mist it on my face, and most of the time I'm just kind of like doing that. I do use the puff to just sort of press it and buff it. Or a makeup sponge to just like pick up any excess so it doesn't transfer.
Right.
Because, if you have like we all have it, I'm sorry, but we do. We all have a little bit of fuzz on our skin, and that actually gets makeup on it too. So when I use the puff, it actually kind of brushes it off of that and picks up any of the extra little particles that may not be bonded to the surface of the skin. So I do that. If I don't have a puff, I use a Kleenex. I just use a tissue or a cotton pad or something. Like I always have something around. I don't necessarily do the same thing every day, but there's no rules with it. I mean, there's no rules with makeup. It's, how it works into your routine and how it makes you feel comfortable and beautiful. So yeah, no, I love using my fingers. I think you get a more natural look when you use your fingers, actually.
Okay. And also, I just wanted to, before I forget, I just wanted to let you know, my cousin has just been diagnosed with breast cancer, and she's going through chemotherapy, and she has never worn makeup. She's 47 years old. She's never worn makeup, and she purchased the primer and the NVB, and it's amazing. Like her skin is so great because she's going through chemo, and it makes her feel so good every day to put your product on. So thank you.
Thank you. Like honestly, we all have our stories, right? We all have, I could tell you so many stories too. And, that is what makes it all worth it. For us is actually, it's not about selling makeup. It's about making people feel beautiful. Yeah. It's like that little string, like it's right here, it's invisible, and you could like pull it up and they walk out the door and they feel like they look amazing. And it changes the way we talk. It changes the way we speak. It changes the way we walk, just if we feel good about ourselves. And so that's everything to me. Thank you.
Fabulous. Well, Heather, while you're talking, do you want to just do your quick little routine? I'm intrigued.
Oh my goodness.
With the fingers.
I know, hey?
And I hope you guys are okay. I mean, I'm totally fine. We're like 5 minutes to where we said that we were going to stop, but as long as we're all okay.
No, we're good.
Yeah. Don't worry about it, Yolanda, because don't worry about talking. I mean, you are we're gleaning from you. So we're very, very interested. We want to be able to pass all this information on. And Gus wanted to say hi to everybody.
Oh, and his skin looks great.
Yeah.
He's an N4.
He is. Isn't it amazing how they end up kind of looking like us? It's amazing. I'll have to bring mine in sometime. But.
He won't leave me alone. Every time I'm on video, he's got to get up on my lap.
Life with Gus.
Yeah.
Oh, he's so funny. He makes me laugh every day.
He makes me laugh every day too.
Okay. Now I'm on. Is that too much?
No, not too much. I will say it was maybe a little bit wide.
Okay.
I think, a lot of times we think, oh, we don't want to get too much, so we'll like you know, move it a
Maybe I
lot.
think their head's bigger than it is.
But keeping the can moving is definitely perfect. But,
Right.
you know, like when you're moving the can, like this is, you know, you're going to waste a lot of your product. So you're going to go through your can a lot faster. It's more like, I'm going to use the primer so I don't like keep coating my face with more and more foundation. Let me find my primer. Okay. So like literally like
Okay.
just straight down, keeping the can moving, and you're going from here to here versus like here to here. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
You're gonna have, actually you'll use less makeup, you'll save a lot of product, but you feel it. You know, as you're using it, you're gonna feel where you're spraying it. And the fact that you're covering your hair and covering, you know, you're in neutral colors, you're not gonna notice that there's a lot of extra, but you could actually feel it, especially when you're using the primer. But the process is more like this versus like this.
All right.
So, but great on the spraying time. That was awesome. And the distance I could tell was good too. So just a little bit more narrow and more like up and down versus side to side.
Okay.
Good tip. Then what do you do with your fingers then, Heather?
Well,
You want to do it again?
oh, did you want me to? I'm going to cover up my blemishes. Can you see them?
Oh. Oh, look at that coverage.
Where did that go? That's amazing. You know what though? I like to actually do that first. You could do it after too. But it's the funny thing is that it's a routine that people get into. I like to actually cover them first because then I automatically feel like I'm not going to spray as much.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel like I have to cover as much. It's kind of a, you know, like a thought process that goes into it. So, you know, maybe start with doing your concealing first, you know, and knock that out. I literally today, I was in a big hurry to get out and go get a birthday present and get back. And I sprayed a little bit of the floor in my hand. I've never done this ever, but I took a Q-tip and I just went over a couple of my little dots and then just touched them with my finger. And I didn't even spray my face because I knew I needed to be clean faced. So I didn't do the whole process, but I wanted to, you know, like not feel like that was a issue.
Like, I know I have this, and I'm like, people, I go to the store, I'm like, I'm pretty sure they're not looking up, they're just looking at that.
So, you know what, it's cool. Like every day you could do something a little bit different, whatever works for you in that moment. But yeah, I usually conceal first, and try that, just see if that, you know, sort of helps you with the spraying process. Cause I think
Right. Okay. So now I'll spray.
All right, there you go.
And then I usually just like wait, like about 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And then
And then you go in with your fingers under the eyes. That's great.
and then I just blend it in.
So do you use any applicators at all?
No, I don't like them. It's I don't know. It's a weird thing with me. I don't feel like I can feel what I'm doing.
Okay.
So
you know, you have very light eyebrows. Do you fill them in?
I do fill them in, but you know what I find is really great about this product is that it kind of fills them in. So like some days I don't want, I'll just put mascara on. I don't want to like fill my eyebrows in. And I find that this kind of colors them.
Oh,
So it looks like I have them.
that's a little something. Okay, that's good. And then if you actually do put a little bit of powder in them, or even just go over them with a brush, it will actually help hold them into place and shape them a little bit. So that's
Yeah. So that's my routine, but I wear it every single day, every day. Whether I'm going to be at home or I'm going to be out, I wear it every day.
That's amazing.
Awesome.
Great.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you, Bekki.
Now, next up, I wanna address Connie. Come on, Connie. You're muted right now. You want me to unmute you?
It's okay. There we are.
Oh, hello, Connie.
Hello, how are you?
Great.
Good.
Because Connie's got a bit of rosacea.
Yes, she
No,
does.
I don't. No, I don't. I have lupus is actually what I have.
Oh,
Yeah, so that's why I get the raccooning, is because I
really?
have lupus. So yeah, so it's nothing skin surface that I actually have a problem. It's from the blood system through my face. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not laughing at you.
It's fine.
Gus has wrapped himself up in my clothing on the
Oh,
floor.
is he?
Yeah.
It's a silly guy. Yeah.
So how are you? I mean, your skin is looking amazing, Connie.
It has been very nice lately, for sure. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what the entire change has been, but I don't know if it's just that I've been using the makeup a lot more regularly. Like now I'm using it, of course, every day instead of every other day. So yeah, because of course I'm working now.
You're going back. Yeah.
So yeah, so it's made, so yeah, but I think I think I've really noticed a change over the last 6 months for sure. It has really made a big change, and I'm not sure why that is, but maybe it's the relaxation. I'm not sure.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You're relaxed. So
Yeah,
do you want to show us then your
sure,
regime?
sure, okay. So I do use my primer first. So here we go.
Shake, shake, shake.
I know, right? I know. Here we go. Close your eyes and squint, right? See, I'm hesitant, like you said, actually. I've noticed that when you said that to, who'd you say that to? Dad?
I don't know, but you know what? You did great, actually. You were fast and even, you know, you went all over, and then you actually kind of went back around and did a little bit more in some areas, but like your skin already has a beautiful luminescent glow to it, and then the primer is going to give a little bit more, it's going to actually diffuse a little bit more of the redness, because in the primer there is micronized titanium dioxide. That is titanium dioxide in general is what's in zinc, right?
Oh, okay.
Natural blocker. We don't make a sunscreen claim, but you're going to get that. So you're going to get that, you know, extra coverage that, you know, isn't necessarily makeup, but it is going to help reduce some of the redness. Definitely, I see it more on your left side than to the right side. You have a little bit more redness on that side, but you do have a beautiful illuminating glow to your skin. So I'm going to teach you some tricks. So let's keep going.
Okay. So normally I have two colors. So usually I start with the N2 because it's a little bit lighter. And then I spray actually the back of my hand a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then I use my little applicator. And then that's what I kind of dab on my color a little bit. And especially in here, and my nose too. I've been noticing lately my nose has been getting red too. So no, I didn't use enough, so hang tight. And then I cover this side as well. And I get it sometimes down in my neck too, so away we go.
Gus has got his chicken. I gotta mute.
And then I pretty much leave everything else at this point. And then I take my N4 and then I do the all over. Whew. There we go. Now I find though that sometimes I shoot my eyes really well. So when I go to open my eyes, I can't see very well because I shot them really well.
Your lashes are very well coated.
Yeah, they are. They are, yeah. And then I just kind of make sure that now I don't do what you're talking about, all this contouring. I have to say, Yolanda, this is the very first makeup I've ever worn in my entire life. I've never been instructed on how to wear makeup. I've never done anything like that. This is the first time I've actually not minded anything touching my face. I've never actually used it before, and I'm enjoying it and I love it.
Oh, that means so much to me. Well, I can tell you what you're doing is exactly what I would have told you to do.
Awesome.
Yeah. So first things first, like when you're concealing, you already have so much beautiful brightness under your eyes. You don't need to brighten anything here. Like you don't have bags or dark circles. So that's like nice and flat and bright. So you're concealing right here where your redness is. So when you actually apply the product with your finger, you're going to get the most diluted version. But when you apply with a sponge like you're doing, the great thing about that is that the sponge literally is absorbing all the water. So I'm going to show you just with myself. And when I lay down product, I'm laying down straight pigment.
Okay.
And so that's how you're going to get the most coverage. So if you're doing it here, you're going to cover your redness because you're laying down your pigment and the water's staying in the sponge. So you're doing exactly the right thing. Yeah, that's great. So what you're also doing is that you're reducing the redness by using, making it more opaque, using a lighter color, has more white in it. And then when you go back over it with the 4, you're adding color back into your skin so you don't look so washed out. A lot of times what happens when people have a lot of redness in their skin is they want to cover that redness with something. They want to counteract it with a yellow. And I don't know if you've spent any time in counters at the cosmetic counters in the department stores, but 90% of the products that are on the market are yellow based. They're yellow based because nobody wants to be red, right? So it's a like a marketing thing. Like it speaks to us, like, to get rid of red, we're going to use yellow. But actually, it's a brilliant marketing thing by cosmetic companies, because if I take out all the red in my skin, then I have to all of a sudden I look flat. I look like I need more color. So then I go back in with bronzer and cheek color and eyeshadow, and I have to go back in and put all this color back into my skin tone to actually feel like my skin looks like it's alive. And so what you did was absolutely brilliant and perfect. That's exactly how I would have told you to do it.
Thank you.
Reduce the redness and then go back in with a color that is going to make you feel alive and give you a little bit of color back into your skin. It was brilliant. Perfect.
Thank you. Yeah. You said about, the market and about taking all the redness out and everything. I cannot walk past any kind of makeup counter or kiosk without somebody pouncing on me about my redness in my skin. And and it was tiring. but now I can actually walk in a mall and not have that anymore. So that's really nice.
That's great. That's great. I'm not a big advocate of color correction where people put green on top of another share purple, like all these fake colors to go put, a natural skin tone back into your skin. Like, I just want my skin to look like skin, and so the least amount that we can do to cover and still look natural and get that color back in is, the goal, obviously. And you're doing a great job, Connie.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you, Connie. Hey, how about if we go over, I see that you finished cleaning all your brushes, Miss Monica.
You're so funny. I'm trying to keep myself busy and occupied.
Now we're going to pick on you. And so I don't know if you guys have met before, but Yolanda, Monica is a makeup artist as well. And she's in the Edmonton area. Her and Bev have become good friends. And I know that she's been using the products, and she did a beautiful makeover on Bev a few months ago. And Bev had a photo shoot after that and just looked at
I actually use the product quite a bit on my models as well. I own a modeling agency, and I do professional makeup and hair, and often we use the product on photo shoots, especially when it's water-based or there's anything where they need a waterproofing or they need a little bit more buoyance in the skin. And so I really love this product. I thought it was really amazing. When I met Miss Bev, I was really interested in it. When I met her at the trade show, I was like, what are you selling? And she sprayed it on my face. And first of all, as a person of color, I find makeup is really not for us. It's not made for us. It's not inclusive for us. And it's hard to find a skin match that's not orange. And it's interesting that you said that they put yellow in makeup, because for people who have like red underneath their skin or orange underneath their skin, I don't need to enhance that in my skin. I actually want to neutralize my skin and make it so it just looks like a better version of itself. And often I find like it doesn't matter whether it's Fit Me or whatever, it's going to be very heavy and very greasy, and they want to cake face me. And I am somebody who naturally, even at 36, has really good skin. So I don't need to be cake faced. I actually really don't like a lot of heavy makeup. If I have it on my face, I feel it feels scratchy, and it really does not feel good. So when I found this, first I never used the primer. So I didn't have that awesome experience of knowing what the primer actually did to make it different. But, and I just had used the product, had Miss Bev do the 2-second spray, and I was like, because as a makeup artist, you know, like you spend time. So the first time she did it, I was kind of just like, so that's it? Then I was like, looked at myself after, and I ended up doing a photo shoot, which I will send you the pictures of. And they turned out amazing. Like my skin looked like fantastic. And so after that, I had gotten a few different colors, the N3, N4, N6. We had a few of them actually, and I used them on my lighter skin models. And I'm interested, the main thing I'm interested now is to find the middle range, because I have so many like Asian, East Indian, Lebanese, different girls in my company that have a little bit of a different skin undertone. But I'm really excited about the fact that there is such a, it's very inclusive, and also that it's not super orangey, so I don't end up looking like a cake face psychopath. And so I'm gonna
Always important.
and go in, and then you guys can, you know, judge me. judge away. So I find like one of my issues is that like I tend to do the middle of my face instead of doing the outside.
Yep.
So sometimes I just go ahead and just give myself a little, you know, just a little life there. And make sure that it's so light that often when I'm doing it on people too, they just don't feel like I did anything, especially because most primers are silicone based, dimethicone is in there, and it's very slippery, buttery feeling on the face, and they're not used to it. So I found the lightness of this product was the most spectacular thing about it. And also telling people about stem cell research. Obviously, you know, they don't really understand that you can grow back new teeth with stem cells, so they certainly wouldn't understand how well this product works. But you guys will get to see from a Black perspective, at least, what it actually does and looks like.
Flawless. You know, the funny thing is that honestly, I think people see the biggest transformations of flawless perfection on a level 6 and above, like the shades and above. And the reason for that is that your skin is so smooth, and the color, if the color is right, and then you put it on, like, honestly, it's like, exactly.
This is my area of disaster, because I have PCOS. I get a little bit of hirsutism, and I grow a lot of like chin hairs, and I'm obsessed with them, so I pluck the shit out of my face. So this is really great, because in one spray it actually takes away all of the darkness that's underneath my chin and blends perfectly into my neck, so you guys can see the difference like right away, and it's like actually perfect.
Wow.
And
I love that.
Right? Like I literally didn't do any work to this, right? And for me, like, because there is a little bit of a difference between like putting a lighter color in the middle of my face and what would happen to you guys, I tend to look ashier, you know, if I do that. So for me, I actually go back in a little bit. I find the bronzer warms up my skin a little bit.
Absolutely.
And can fill in those areas a little bit better. So
yep,
just do a little bit of that.
It takes the chalkiness away from the makeup on every skin tone. It
makes me look a little bit more like, you know, glowy. I glow up with it.
Exactly.
So I find
I do find with women of color in, you know, East Indian and, you know, across the board, there's a lot of, you know, sometimes darker under, sometimes, you know, light here. There's a way to actually, you know, either mix the shades together on the skin by spraying and then, you know, evening out, but it feathers itself. So it doesn't actually, like, you're not doing, you know, one shade here and one shade here. You're like literally misting here with one shade and then misting up here with another shade. And they're sort of like evenly feathering each other out. So it doesn't look artificial.
It doesn't look different. Like, you can't, when you look at my skin now, like, I literally think my skin just looks like my skin, but better.
Yeah.
And I have none of the, you can't even see the scarring. And I have like serious scarring underneath my neck and chin from actually like literally physically like plucking the chin hairs out of my chin every single day. So, and I've tried laser therapy, but it doesn't work for black skin. I've tried everything. So finding something where I literally get this type of luminescence and glowiness to my skin, I feel like I'm wearing nothing on my face right now. And so like if I wanted to go in and conceal again, I would do the same thing. I would use like an Artiste brush, you know, an oval brush, or I would use a wet sponge and just go in and redefine around my eyes a little bit more. But I had already kind of concealed and did my eyebrows. Mm-hmm. So what I find really wonderful is, like, you know, usually when you already pre-apply makeup to somebody's face, especially as a makeup artist, we do the eyes sometimes and then do the foundation. Mm-hmm. I find with this product, what's great is, like, I just did my brows earlier and the product didn't affect my brows, and the primer helped keep my brows in place and perfect no matter what. So you get that transfer proof vibe, and it lasts all day. Like, I can wear this till tomorrow, like, really genuinely. And I really love it. So I apply the same way, brushes, sponges, the whole thing. I've tried it all. I did used to use a beauty blender, but I found I didn't really need to because the puff works really well. So I encourage everybody to use it. And I also wanted to, like, tell you guys, like, the price point for me isn't actually an issue. I find for the younger generation, anything they have to spend money on that they didn't get from Sephora is, you know, that's one thing. But I am interested to see how we can create a bigger market space using the models and actually having them promoted in their social media, and work with Juness to become the models that they see on the packaging, because that's really exciting for us. Mm-hmm. And I really love the fact that I found something that looks like my actual skin. And so this color is the N9, the Cool Cocoa, and it actually is perfect. So I have nothing but positive vibes and things to say about it. I've had a great experience thus far, and I literally have found, like, my black magic.
Oh, thank you. You know what? You're hired. You are so hired.
Hey, you know, honestly, it's my job.
I have to say, to you, though, Monica, honestly, my very first, you know, aside from being a mom, I'm a makeup artist, you know.
Yes, ma'am.
I actually had a responsibility. Like I told you, I had a suitcase of and I came up during the time when we had to have, like, you know,
everything.
Oil-based makeups for you know,
film, for film.
And the powder pancake makeup for daytime television, because it was so.
Got your Ben Nyes, your theater,
you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, absolutely.
So, but I actually, you know, I had to make these colors and do this product, not just to develop some product and throw it on the market. I never had any intention of having a retail product. Ever. For me, it was all about creating a solution for a situation, and then actually making colors that could be used on real skin. So initially, my first thought was that I needed 10 shades of warm and 10 shades of neutral, but I couldn't really, you know, at that time, I couldn't really afford to do the minimums for 20 shades. So I said, I'm going to do the 10 shades that I use every day, like that I'm going to use in my career. And then, you know, in all of the time that I've actually been doing makeup, I've traveled from Puerto Rico to Korea to South Africa to Brazil to Ireland, you know, all over the world in all the different skin types. And I've never found anyone I couldn't match or get a shade that worked on their skin tone that looked natural and looked beautiful, you know. And ultimately, I feel like we are missing one darker shade. We do need that.
Just for one more darker skin tone behind mine.
And so, but your shade I made specifically for Oprah Winfrey.
Well, that's so funny because I have her skin tone. So I think that that's like the interesting thing about my skin is that I am like actually a cool cocoa.
Yeah.
Like literally that is what I am. And in almost every brand, like they'll call me mocha, they'll call me cool, whatever, you know what I mean? But I have always found like if I'm in the 300 zone, I'm always going to be just right in the middle and there's never that tone. But I always feel bad for girls that are just darker than me because there's nothing for them.
Yeah, no, we do have that shade. We just haven't. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I apologize for cutting you off. I literally used to have to mix tones for people, and now I'm like, wow, like, look, if you see me, like, I'm flawless right now, like, literally. And I think the one beautiful thing about this product line is that a lot of product lines you can't buff other product lines directly into.
Yeah.
Because there's a skipping in the skin. There's like, you know, you'll get those lines of demarcation that you can't blend out exactly, or the wetness to the product never actually fully dries down. So you get that streakiness or into the lines and wrinkles. There's none of that with this product. It is that good. Like I look cut in and skinny right now. Okay?
And you didn't use any powder. I mean, honestly,
no, I don't have to with this. Oh my God, you guys have no idea. I have like the most setting powders of any human being ever in life, and I don't have to use setting powder with this. Like, do you guys see my skin right now?
You look amazing.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like Jesus just came down and kissed me.
There's a tagline.
Just feel all that. Just love it.
I love you, Monica.
I have to be honest, like the bronzer works amazing, and even on my skin, which, you know, normally like if you're using a powder bronzer for white people, it's not going to work for black skin. It'll actually be a highlighter on me. So the fact that there's something that can brighten my skin, keep me looking juicy and glowed up, and doesn't make me look ashy or greasy, girl, I'm winning in this life right now.
I love it.
Glory to God. Yeah. So thank you very much for this product line. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Oh my goodness.
Yes. I'm looking to work on the spray on blush, girl.
Thank you so much, Monica. That was awesome. Now we're going to go down south to the first of our two Kathys. And we've got my good friend Kathy Pogue down in Sweetwater, Texas.
Yeah.
Ready for the rattlesnake. What's that called? The rattlesnake what?
The rattlesnake roundup.
There we go.
Yeah.
Rattlesnake roundup.
It's actually starting tomorrow. So yeah, it's a really big thing. We're expecting 40,000 people.
Wow.
And our town is only 12,000.
What?
How many snakes? How many snakes?
Lots of snakes.
Now, how many snakes are you expecting?
Oh, I don't know. They have pounds and pounds and pounds. I don't know.
Do they eat them?
Do they what?
Eat them after? Because I've had rattlesnake. It's good.
Yeah. They eat them. They skin them. They milk them to get the venom out, and they use it for medicines. A lot of medicines are made out of the venom.
Yeah.
They use all parts of the snake.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I know
We'll have to come down.
Yeah, I know, Kathy,
Okay.
you have been a huge fan of Yolanda and Envy, and I know you use it every day because I roommated with you, and she is just awesome at putting this on, Yolanda. She's like an expert. So.
Oh, now don't build me up too much.
No, come on. And the Zen line too. I got to do a little plug for Zen here because you've had the most amazing results with Zen. Yeah. How'd Paul do on it?
Paul quit. He did. He lost 20 pounds, and then I mean, he did. He lost quite a bit, but he needs to lose some more. But he just couldn't resist all of the temptations, so he quit. And he's in the back of the house going, He's listening to me.
That's cute.
Anyway.
All right, show us what you do.
Yolanda, I do want to ask you something. You were talking earlier about pressing it in and then buffing it.
Yes.
What difference is that?
Well, okay, so pressing pressing is like this. And basically what you're doing is you're setting it, because we're not going to use powder over the top of it. I mean, you can. There, like I said, you absolutely can. But when you press it like this, you're literally, what you're doing is you're picking up any of the extra moisture that is laying on the surface of the skin, and it leaves behind the actual product. So I was just talking to somebody yesterday that lives in a really hot, humid climate, and they were like, okay, so can I apply more makeup over the top in the afternoon? You know, if I like after work, I want to go out and I can put more makeup over the top. And of course you can. So there's two methods of thinking. You can actually, excuse me, when you press it, what you're doing is you're setting it. So after it's been sitting for a while, if you have very oily skin, you could take a tissue, or, you know, one of the DIY best kept secrets is take a toilet seat cover, because it's the same material that you would use in an actual blotting paper, and you literally just press like that, and it lifts out the oil, it lifts out the moisture, but it leaves the makeup behind. So, you know, if you're just freshly applied, obviously you don't have to worry about that. You're just setting it with your puff. At the end of the day, pressing it would mean to like lift the oil and leave the makeup behind. Buffing is doing this. And you would think you'd be wiping the makeup off, but you're not really. What you're doing is actually just picking up any little particles of makeup that are in the little bits of hair that are on your face that maybe didn't actually bond to the actual skin. And that actually is going to keep the transfer from going on to your clothing, because, you know, we all have that little bit of fuzz. It doesn't matter how old we are. We could be an infant and we've got like that little bit of fuzz that's on the skin. So when you do that, you're like lifting all that off. You're picking it up. I actually buff my eyebrows too, because I want to take it off the hair on my eyebrows. And and then even in my hairline, you know, if I get a little bit of dust in my hairline, because my hair is kind of dark right now, if I get a little bit of dust in my hairline, I literally can just wipe it out after it's had a few seconds to dry. And so that's the difference between pressing and buffing. I actually, though everyone has a different routine, you could actually take a makeup sponge that's damp and press it in that way and sort of melt it into the skin that way too. So there's really no rules with the product. It just depends on the look that you're going for. Using a puff is going to give you more of a matte, opaque look. Using a damp sponge is going to give you more of a dewy, youthful look. So it just depends on what you're going for.
Okay. Thank you.
Can I ask a question while you're talking about that, Yolanda?
Mm-hmm.
So if we were going to do 2 layers, would we then first do the first one blotting and then do another one and then buff?
Okay, so just pressing it in between layers is going to give you more of an opaque look. Pressing it and buffing it in between is going to pick up more of the residual. So it just depends. Do you want more of an opaque look or more of a sort of airbrushed, diffused look?
Okay.
And so, you know, ultimately, I mean, I chose to use the puff because getting that sort of diffused look is what I was going for, and I didn't want to have to apply powder. Although you could take a brush like this and literally, you know, buff it like that as well. I mean, there's so many different application processes, and I don't like to, limit people on what they can do with it, because ultimately, you know, when you say the word artist, that truly is sort of an explanation for what we're doing here. I mean, we're creating highlights and contours on a canvas that is 3-dimensional, and we all have our own methods and our own techniques. So there's not really a right way or a wrong way to do it. It's what works for us and what works for our aesthetic. Okay. And so
if you were going to do 2 layers, if you pressed first, would that conceal more?
It's going to give you more of an opaque finish for sure.
And then you could do another one and then buff on that second one after it dries a little bit, and then that would give you that dewiness. Then
We'll soften it up a bit. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And while I've got you, Connie, just forgot to ask a question. If we spritz water afterwards, will that lock it in?
Yes.
Water.
Okay. So my probably, I always have like my little best kept secrets. When I'm applying the product, it doesn't matter how many layers I do. It could be one quick mist. It could be 3 layers. I could be covering a tattoo. But at the end of it, if I have access for a bride, for instance, who's going to be wearing a white wedding gown, and then her groom at the end of the wedding is going to take off his jacket, and he's going to be in a white shirt, and they're going to be dancing, and he's going to have his arms around her. And her, we want to photo shoot, we want to shoot pictures of her legs. Like this girl is going to be hosed down from head to toe with envy. And we want to make sure it's not going to come off on the white. So generally speaking, if I'm doing a bride, I will, the first thing I do is have them take off everything and moisturize head to toe if they have not done that already, and put on a bathrobe and let it, have time to sit in. Then I'm going to, anything that's going to be photographed, I'm going to spray. And I'm going to press it, buff it with my puff, set it, once the application is done, I'm going to let it set for a little bit. And then if I have access to a shower, I'm going to put that bride in the shower and have her rinse her whole body off, because there's something about exposing this product to water that actually makes it even more wear and water resistant. So misting over the face and the chest and the décolleté with an Evian mister, or just with a pump spray where you just mist it, it just sets it. It literally, it's like magic happens. And once it's exposed to water, honestly, you could get in a bed full of lily white sheets and it doesn't come off. I mean, it literally, you wake up the next day, you could even take a shower before you go to bed and like just only suds up the important parts and not your legs. You know what I mean? The next day, your legs still look phenomenal and there's nothing on your legs and you're like, wow, like the makeup is still there, but there's nothing on my sheets. Literally, water does actually do something magic to it that I can't explain.
No.
I like how it's important parts. Remember that, Heather?
Yeah.
You're quoting me now. Are you recording this?
Yeah.
Be careful with the buffing.
I'm totally blushing. Can you see through my envy that I read?
That's good. That's good. Kathy, are you still there?
I am still here. I am.
Okay, so you go ahead.
Okay. So I'm shaking my primer, and I have to pull my
There you go.
beautiful high
Your French.
forehead.
Your beautiful French.
And yeah, and I had to get myself out of the bathroom because I didn't have enough, my internet wasn't good. So I had to run into the other room. So I don't have a mirror here. So bear with me. And that's my primer.
Perfect.
And then I just take my little sponge or my puff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you for putting it on me so I can see what I'm
Yeah,
doing.
there you go. You can see what you're doing.
And I'm just pressing it on. And I guess that's what I'm supposed to do with the primer, is
Yes. Yes. Okay, so if you press in between primer and foundation, you're going to get more of a matte finish. Someone who wants more of a dewy finish is going to put the primer on, let it set for a few minutes or a few seconds, and then put the foundation right over the top of it. And so then it's going to dilute the foundation a little bit more. What you're doing is giving you a little bit more coverage, and it's also going to give you a little bit more of a matte finish. So that's good.
Okay. And I'm using the N4. In the summer, I've been using the N6, but this is the N4. Spray it in my hand, just like you've shown. And then I put it under my eyes.
Oh, look at that.
Isn't she awesome?
That's a good demo right there. I mean, you can see the difference like night and day, and that lighting is really good, Kathy, for this.
Okay, good. Well, I grabbed a big shop light.
Whatever you're doing, this is good for demo because you could really see the difference between one side to the other.
Okay. Well, I'm just using the camera here. I don't have a mirror. Okay, and then I spray my face. And I probably went too high then, didn't I?
You know what? You're fine. Actually, the good thing for you, your space, right down the center was perfect. Mm-hmm. And I could say the good thing for you is that your hair color to the shade of foundation is not so far off to where, if it gets a little residual, you're totally fine. And I'm the same way. Like, I never put my hair back. Like this, I did this for us today, but like I literally just do what you're doing. I'm like, psh, and I'm done. It looks great.
Well, I actually use my brush. And then I
love that.
And that just, I don't know, it works for me.
Yeah, no, you know what? This is so cool because we all are applying it a little bit different, but all getting like amazing, great results. I love it.
And that's what I do. And then with my bronzer, shake it. And I actually spray the bronzer directly onto my brush.
I did that today. The funny thing is normally I just like on my skin, but I'm so pale right now that I actually could do that. I sprayed a little bit on my brush and I just like, went around the outsides of my face because it was just one of those things where, like I said, every day it's something a little bit different, but that looks amazing.
Wow. Wow. Nice work, Kathy.
And you could drag it down too to your chest too and like get all of that, anything that's showing.
Right here.
My goodness, a little bit of lip gloss and you are good to go.
Thank you. I really love the makeup. Really love it.
Thank you.
And I've been showing it, I've been going to a lot of salons and showing it to the stylist, and I'm getting a lot of good feedback there. So,
the great thing about going into salons and spas is that the environment is set up for people that come in and they're open to treatment, and they're already draped and exposed. Their skin is already clean. And what I find, especially in places that specialize in doing facials and eyebrow waxing, a lot of times, people will go in on their break or on their lunch hour and get their eyebrows waxed and then they're red. So they need something, but you don't really, if I go get a facial, the last thing I want to do, from a mental perspective is go put makeup on top of that amazing skin. But this isn't necessarily makeup. It's a treatment. It's an actual skincare product that has 8% pigment. That is it. In this can, there is 8% mineral pigment. The rest is water and hydrating vitamins, botanicals, and the APT 200. So when you do apply this to your skin, you're not putting makeup on. You're putting on something that's healthy. It's good for your skin. It's going to enhance the treatment that you just had because it's going to penetrate deep within your skin. So yeah, it's a perfect environment to be showing it to because, especially women that are already in the element where they're draped, they're stripped down, their hair's wet, they're ready to go. It's not like a retail environment where somebody comes in and they're just running in to go grab something that they had, they're not planning on trying a new foundation. So, it really is a great environment.
Fantastic. You just look so good.
You look beautiful. I love it.
My eyes.
Yeah.
And my lips.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Kathy Hutchinson, where are you?
In Chilliwack. Yes. Hi, Yolanda.
Hi.
I'm a big fan. I never really wear facial makeup, but I did used to do a lot of stage theater work with a lot of really heavy stuff and aging makeup that would just feel awful. And so that was one of my questions, actually, is if this makeup is as good on the stage as it is for TV.
Absolutely. Okay, so I developed this particular formula for NV, but prior to my my Jeunesse partnership, my product has been used on literally, I couldn't even, like if you saw the list of movies and film productions and stage productions, Gwen Stefani, Beyonce, Britney Spears, like J-Lo, they wear it on stage because they can dance in it, sweat in it. It doesn't come off on their, you know, multi-$1,000, you know, wardrobes that they're wearing. You know, there really is kind of a method behind the madness of, you know, cosmetic products in the big picture. You know, we all just want to look great, you know, but for me as a makeup artist, the product had to work.
Yes.
For me to actually put it out there and to only put out 10 shades, you know, in a brand, and be able to match many different people's skin tones. A lot of it has to do with the way that it's applied when you spray it directly on the skin. So I talked a little bit about the science behind that earlier, about how when you shake the can and then the particles, you know, they like the bubbles of water hit the skin and then they burst. It's kind of like pixelation on a computer monitor. So if you understand special effects makeup, if I was going to do a bald cap and put like this latex piece over somebody's head, I can't make it all the color that matches their skin tone, because it would not look natural next to their own skin tone, because we have blood circulation, we have veins, we have, you know, colors coming from underneath. And so ultimately when you spray your face, it lets your own skin tone come through. So you're not actually wiping out your skin tone. You're actually, you know, letting some of that color come through. And the fact that it stays on and performs, you know, literally so many testimonies from so many people that actually use it because the product works. And that's like my biggest, I don't think I could receive as a product developer a greater compliment than for somebody who's a makeup artist like Monica, who actually uses all different types of makeup and then has a positive experience with this and uses it because it works.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you something really quick, and then I want to get onto your demonstration. But I don't know if have you guys all been exposed to the shimmer yet?
No.
No.
What? Okay, well, it's coming. Actually, this product, I originally developed this particular product for the movie Twilight Breaking Dawn. They were wanting a glow for the vampires when the moon hits their skin. So it was like a moon glow is what they called it. So, you know, it would be like all of us sitting here in normal light, and we all look like our own skin tone, which for the vampires were pale anyway, but they all look normal. But when the light hit their skin, they wanted like when the moon hit their skin or a hot flash photography or anything, they wanted like the skin to literally like glow. And so that's where this came from. So I actually, it's a pearl shimmer. And when you spray it in your hand, you can see it's like literally a pearl. It's a white. But so you could actually take this product and put it on a high point on the skin like that. And you get like a pearly glow. Let me do it here instead. So you get like a pearly glow. So I could take this with a brush. If I have one here, I can just use a foundation brush. And let me see, I need a real mirror. And I could actually paint it on a high point. And get that.
That's beautiful.
So, I mean, we're seeing this all over YouTube right now, you know, this like, you know, this is a foundation brush, but like
I just did that to my face.
if I was gonna do that, I would probably use a brush like this, spray it directly on, and go, you know, like that.
Wow.
And then of course here,
Oh,
and
I can
then, you know, I can,
scrub.
you know, go everywhere that like, I think it looks amazing on the tops of the shoulders like that for like red carpet, like at the,
Yeah.
so there's so many things you can do with it. But for somebody who has very pale skin tone, they can use this product the same as we, you know, somebody like me who's medium or darker would use a bronzer. I actually take this and then put a little bit in my foundation shade. So I mix the two together.
Oh, yes. Oh.
Oh,
And use that as my concealer. For somebody who has very pale skin. There's so many things you can do with it. And then for somebody who's really pale, like a Kate Blanchett, or even like a Reese Witherspoon, you know, up to like a three,
Patrick?
yeah, putting this underneath, Connie even, putting this over the top of your primer, but underneath your foundation would give you that like glow from underneath that people will stop you and say, oh my gosh, you know, what are you wearing? Because it's just like, it's kind of an indescribable, ethereal, you know, glow that's so pretty. And because it's not laying on the surface, a lot of what we're seeing right now is called the strobing, where you're seeing a lot of this highlight that's on the surface, but when you actually do it from underneath, it's like, wow, that's really
Lays in there.
so. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Kathy.
No, don't worry.
I think this is going all night.
No. And I realized we're really running behind time, so I wasn't gonna worry if I didn't really do this for me. So I'm at my parents' place because they've both been unwell, and I don't have my proper puff, but I do have my envy. So yeah, like I said, I hardly ever used to wear a lot of makeup except on stage, and so I've got a lot of freckles. My mother's Welsh, so I know I use too much of the primer. So I'm going to practice what you did, which is that I'm not sure really where I left that, but I feel like
you got it evenly distributed, and yeah, you did great.
Good. And I don't normally pat it in. I usually will wait just a few minutes for it to dry. And I like to use my hands too, Heather, and my fingers. That feels more real for me too.
Yeah.
And I never knew about using it for a concealer. I mean, I did know, but I never used it. So I will try that, and I will try brushes as well. Here we go. See, and I'm tentative because I don't want to have the big look. But then I would be using in here because I have the same areas that you're talking about, Yolanda, around my nose, red on the end, in here sometimes. So I'm going to do concealer next time. And then I would use the sponge just to mat it and set it in. And my hair right now needs color. So I've got a lot of ash right next to my face. And I find that when my hair is different colors, I look really different, right? And I wonder if I need to use a different color. I'm using the N4. So, and I know would normally have my puff and it's bigger, but
no, I think the M4 is good for you. I think that even when you have the ash, it's going to keep you a little bit warmer. I think if you actually do use the concealer first, you're going to find that you probably will use and spray less.
Yes.
But I mean, overall, you got good coverage and you got it blended in nicely. And yeah, I think that you did great. You could definitely benefit by using a little bit of the bronzer to warm your skin up when you feel like looking a little bit ashy too, because the bronzer actually is a golden caramel color. It literally matches the shade of the warm 7, which is Beyonce color.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Okay. So if you did exactly what Kathy did and sprayed it on the brush and then brushed it just around around the perimeter and warm your face up a little bit when you're feeling a little bit ashy, you're going to love that.
Wonderful. Thank you. And can I just make a comment too? I was reading in the news how important makeup is for Korean men. And then I looked at our video and I thought, we need men in our video.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, we show it on Men on Stage, actually. I think almost every single stage presentation that we've done,
Wonderful.
We have come out and spray their own face. And, you know, honestly, I could tell you 20 years ago, I was in Paris when, oh my goodness, I can't think of his name right now. One of the designers came out with a cosmetic line for men, and it was really simple. I mean, there was like a bronzer, there was a polish that you would put on your nails that would look like you had an instant manicure. There was like really simple products, but the industry, I mean, not the industry was ready for it, but men were not ready for it yet.
Yeah.
Now men are sneaking product out of our medicine cabinets. I mean, they're like, you know, if there's a man in your house, you're going through twice as much product than you probably would if you had your own place. So, I mean, maybe they're still not quite admitting it yet, but definitely in Asia, they're a lot more open to their grooming techniques than they are still in the United States and, you know, and in Canada. Men are a little bit more conservative about, you know, what they admit to.
Right. Exactly.
But they're all using it. I mean, they're using the self tanners, they're using moisturizers and the eye creams, and you know, they're definitely cleaning themselves up.
Wonderful. Thank you. Much appreciated.
Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Well, I think we did everything. And you know what? My shade is N4 as well. So I'm going to be very, very similar to what Kathy did. Like, I think it's funny how so many of us are N4s. In the summer, we do the N4, N6. Those are like, they're universal. So
I can tell you that when I did the shades originally, back in the very beginning, I actually created the N2, which is a shade that I have a very hard time finding exists, period. Women who are that shade have a really hard time finding a shade that matches their skin tone, because if it's light, it's usually too yellow. I'm sure that Connie can actually, you know, speak to that, because you know, typically when it's that light, they're trying to wash out the redness, and then they wipe out the skin tone completely, and it just doesn't match. And so I made that shade specifically for that skin tone that I could never find a shade for. The N4, likewise, I needed to match my, because I can be yellow and red. I'm both. And a lot of us, I find that probably 50% of the population is that shade, and you could actually get away with a lot. You know, if in doubt, I always say, if in doubt, you're trying to match somebody's skin tone and they're a medium skin tone and you don't know which way to go, just give them the N4 and it's going to match. It's going to be fine. Because there is such a light amount of pigment in the product that you could actually get away with it. Yeah, I mean, to be a makeup artist and only have 10 shades of foundation and feel like I can pretty much, well, in our case, we only have 9, but there is a 10th. And, you know, someday I'm sure we'll probably have that for, you know, a line extension. But, you know, to only have those shades and be able to match so many people really speaks to, I think, just my experience as a makeup artist and what I had to have in my box all the time. Like, I didn't want to develop a line that I couldn't actually use. And the biggest compliment to me, like I said earlier, is when a makeup artist actually uses it and says, wow, this works, and it works for me, and it worked on this particular situation, on this particular skin type that I have a hard time with. I love that. That's everything to me. So I love that. Love hearing all the stories.
Can you name drop a few people?
I was actually going to ask you if there's a list that you can give me for all my millennials, so I can tell them that Beyonce uses it and really mean it, because that will make them buy it. So like,
Well,
I
we
need
have,
that
I'm going to just say, like, I have a list a mile long of people that have used my products in the past that we've distributed product to. I would like to have some confirmation. This was a big push this season with all the red carpet stuff. So I'm going to have a lot of that coming really soon.
Good.
It's, you know, for you, you know, Holly Robinson, Pete, I've got photos with her using it. Adam used it on Oprah. Like, there's a lot of people that Penelope Cruz had it on. You know, women of color are gonna love the product, and that's gonna be
That's exactly who I'm trying to push it to.
easy switch from what they've been using to the Envy product. So, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, in our world, legal and, you know, being able to say who's using it, we want confirmation. And, you know, obviously with social media, it's easy to get that confirmation. You look amazing. Are you going out tonight, girl?
Oh, I do this so I can do a photo shoot after for you and send you the pictures. Hey! Yes. Listen, I came to slay today, ladies. This is best life right here. It's like a Chachi Glam Life Guru moment. Hey, I'm gonna put my ring light on. I'm gonna do a little photo shoot. I'm gonna send you them, and I'm not gonna edit it. I'm not gonna
Just
Snapchat
hang
filters.
on. Don't lose this shot here, Chikai. Whoa.
I brushed my teeth and put on lip gloss.
I know.
I figured I should try and finish the look for you guys because I was like, well, you know, like the half beat, I just did like a little half cut crease. I didn't really do much.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah. Tried to ombre my lip, but you know, liquid lipstick just does not like my face. So
Don't hate me because I'm beautiful.
Yeah.
oh, I'm trying. I love you guys. This was amazing. I spent 2 hours talking about makeup, which is like my whole life.
Yeah, right.
And you've actually sat in one spot for a whole 2 hours too, Monica. I can't believe it.
I'm in love with my life right now. Like, I look so pretty. Thank you, MV, honey. I'm going to do a whole ad for y'all. Like, I'm literally going to make a video today and do a photo shoot.
Yes.
I've done it before so you guys could see what I really look like.
Yeah.
You guys are awesome.
Beautiful when you started. Wonderful.
Well, you guys are also beautiful. It's amazing.
Thank you, girls. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
Monica,
Bekki. Thanks, Yolanda.
joining us as a special guest.
My pleasure.
Yeah, we just absolutely love you, Yolanda. We thank you so much for creating this product, and we look forward to just it. I mean, like I said, it hasn't even hit here yet, especially in America. And so we just really look forward to doing some of these parties. Let's, I know this group of people stays pretty close contact. Cora bowed out. She's not feeling well. So a few minutes ago, she had to lay down. So I know that you've got that group going. So let's continue to pass information around. Let's get some parties going online where we can demo these products to people. Some live video. I mean, you know how absolutely amazing live video is. And yeah, let's go out and show the world how beautiful they can be.
And I'm available to you. I mean, I'm here for you. So, you know, thank you so much for inviting me. I appreciate that. And, you know, anytime that if I'm not on an airplane, I will be here for you. I absolutely love it. I love this product and I love this life that we live, and I want to share it with all of your friends. So please include me. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
Night.
Night.
Have a great weekend.
Can't wait for your video, Monica.
I
Coming
know.
with the ladies. I'm coming. Don't worry. I'll be tagging you.
I'm loving it tomorrow on Instagram. So
Yes. You guys have a wonderful evening, and God bless you all.
God bless you.
Hey, everybody.